councils around northern Colorado have been making some important decisions, from fracking to housing sizes to portable alcohol. We have that look inside. Stick around. Northern Colorado 5 starts right now.
From the only news station committed to northern Colorado, this is Northern Colorado 5 News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Riley Deagood. Thanks for joining us tonight. Well, all 2,500 student tickets for Saturday's New Mexico CSU men's basketball game sold out in 3 hours from when the box office opened this morning at 8. And it's no wonder tickets went so fast as the lines wrapped throughout campus. Alex Ruiz was there this morning and spoke to some faithful die-hard Ram fans.
Like 20 minutes, but I heard people this morning were waiting forever. I'm glad I got my ticket.
Dedicated Rams fans waited in line all morning so that they'll be there when the number 22 ranked Rams take on the number 16 ranked New Mexico Lobos.
So stoked.
Why?
Because
The Rams are awesome. We're ranked. They only won 50 years.
The line for tickets was extremely long, wrapping around the McGraw Center. But these students have Ram fever, and some said they'd wait in line for hours.
Maybe a couple hours.
We're freshmen. And this is like a huge game. A huge game.
There were 2,500 tickets for Saturday's game when the box office opened at 8 a.m. And right at 11, all the tickets were gone.
Good.
Rams ticket office.
Box office clerks said this was the busiest day they've had, even though this is the third sold-out game this season.
There you go. You're all set. Have a good one. Hi, how's it going?
To pass the time, students in line threw out predictions for Saturday's game, obviously ending in the Rams' favor.
75 Rams, 69 New Mexico. That's what I'm guessing.
I'm going to go 68, 69 Rams.
Oh, that's close.
And it will certainly be packed, full of rowdy Rams cheering their team to victory. In Fort Collins, Alex Ruiz, Northern Colorado 5.
All right, the snowstorm that meteorologist Chris Yates has been talking about all week has moved into a region. Let's send it over to him for a first look at that. Chris?
All right, thank you, Riley. Yes, and we've been seeing snow in parts of the area ever since earlier this afternoon, especially further south where they got it first. Let's take a look at some alerts. We do have some concerns, especially out near Greeley, where we do have winter weather advisories in effect. You go further east out towards Fort Morgan, that is a winter storm warning. All these going into effect at least through Thursday morning for Greeley, Thursday evening as you get further east. But I want to show you the almanac, or your radar and satellite composite first. Take a look at the snow that's pushed through northern Colorado. We did see a break earlier this evening, but there's a lot more to come with this as this low just gets a little closer to home. High temperature today, 39 degrees after a low of 12, so we were running a little bit below average, folks. And a look at your day planner, snow is going to continue straight through tomorrow morning, but by noon, light snow showers beginning to decrease, and by 6 p.m., mostly cloudy. Temperatures still in the 20s, so looking cooler with plenty of snow. How much can you expect? I'll have that forecast and much more coming up later on in the show.
Thanks, Chris. The city of Fort Collins could be looking at a lawsuit from the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission should the council pass a ban on fracking within city limits. The first vote to ban fracking passed last night 5-2. The council heard almost 2 hours of public comment before making their decision.
Hello, City Council. My name is Elizabeth Huditz. I live in southeastern Fort Collins. The oil and gas industry talks about their good record, but even if they were able to meet and follow all the rules and regulations, the industry has not been accident-free. Oil spills have poisoned oceans in Windsor, you know about that. Also, the drilling that they did into a landfill, they apparently weren't even aware of.
I live here in town. Thank you for your service tonight on this long evening. I'm here speaking on behalf of Clean Water Action, which has about 2,000 members in Fort Collins.
The ban on fracking within city limits also includes the promise to support the city of Longmont in their current lawsuit with the COGCC. The City Council also decided to postpone their decision on new building codes for Old Town neighborhoods. The new codes would decrease the size that homes in that area could be, as well as limiting the size of new additions.
That's one reason why I support option A today. I feel like it takes into account all sides of these issues and is fair to both builders and those being built next to.
Heating bill for January was $45. After that was billed, it was $95.
The postponement was due to the length of the meeting, which ran past the 4-hour limit. If you are looking for a new place to rent in Fort Collins, you might as well start now. In both Fort Collins and Loveland, vacancy rates fell a percentage point to 2.4% in just 3 months. The price of renting also went up 3%, leaving the average at just over $1,000 a month. But the decrease in vacancies also means a decrease in unemployment, putting Fort Collins and the rest of Larimer County in pretty good shape. Fort Collins has received a lot of attention from our U.S. senators. Yesterday, it was Senator Mark Udall. Today, Senator Michael Bennett. He spoke with employees at the Crossroads Safe House in Fort Collins, which is a shelter for women who are victims of domestic violence. The state Senate reauthorized the Violence Against Women Act last week, which provides funding to shelters like Crossroads. But for these places to start seeing any kind of money, the House also has to approve the act. And Senator Bennett doesn't know why it's taking them so long to do that.
This bill, if it were reauthorized in the way the Senate has reauthorized, it would give them the assurance that the funding will be there. I believe the House will pass this bill. I don't understand why they haven't passed it. And the reauthorization should have been done several years ago.
Soon you'll be able to openly drink alcohol in a portion of Greeley. The City Council decided it was time to permanently reinstate the To-Go Cup District, which is the area around the 9th Street Plaza, so folks of age could carry alcohol in special cups from shop to shop. The alcohol would be allowed out from 5 to 11 p.m. on Fridays, with the first night beginning on St. Patrick's Day weekend and then starting up permanently on May 24th. The Fort Collins City Council election is April 2nd. From now until Election Day, we're going to be speaking with each candidate to see why they're running and what they hope to see change here in Fort Collins. We spoke with District 3 hopeful Gino Campana, a longtime resident of Fort Collins.
I think our number one objective, or my number one objective, would be to take what we've been able to accomplish up to this point, establish some new visions, and go out and try to make the investments to achieve those visions. Can we do better? Of course. We can boost our economy. And a cyclist, and if I want to go out and run trails, they're very disconnected in our district. And then just, I want to preserve the quality of life that we've come to enjoy. That wasn't by accident, and we've tweaked along the way our city positioning, and I think branding of our city goes a long, long way.
The man who was seriously injured in a car explosion last week is on his way to recovery. Adrian Vigil suffered serious burns and the loss of one of his eyes when a welding tank exploded in the back of this car in Greeley. Vigil was using the tank at his job as a plumber. Investigators believe the tank was leaking when the explosion happened, sending parts of the car flying. Joining other breweries in town, Fort Collins Brewery is adding a new brew house and some more beers. The brew house will hold a new $1 million system, boosting the amounts of barrels per year from 22,100 to 32,300. The new system will brew larger batches come September, when the brewery hopes to add on more distribution states. According to the University of Vermont, Fort Collins is ranked as one of the happiest cities in the United States based off of our tweets. Fort Collins ranked 13th, just behind Boulder, and Longmont came in second. The happiest state, they say, is Hawaii. The analysis took into consideration how many times LOL and other happy words were used, as well as how much profanity and sad words were tweeted. Out of all 50 states, Louisiana was the saddest on Twitter. Still ahead, Colorado State University researchers looked into just how bad the forest health is in the state and why the lines may be getting longer at DIA as soon as March 1st.
And Old Man Winter is finally back in northern Colorado, but how much snow is he leaving on your doorstep? We'll have that complete forecast and much more coming up next, right here on Northern Colorado 5.
You're watching Northern Colorado 5 at 10 with Riley D. Good, Chris Yates, and Sports with Kurt Maddox. Is brought to you by Xfinity, the future of awesome. Time now for your exclusive forecast.
Meteorologist Chris Yates is here, and you've been talking about the snowstorm all week, and it is finally here. And yeah, we're not getting nearly the snow that the central portion of the U.S. is getting and is supposed to get,
Right.
but we're going to
We're
get
looking
some.
pretty well. We're actually we're gonna see a nice gradient or a very sharp contrast in the snow across northern Colorado. Parts of northern Colorado really going to be stuck in that heavier stuff, while others, like here in Fort Collins, I think we're going to skip out on the heaviest snow, but we're still going to be impacted. Let's take a look at what's going on across the state. We have a lot of snow on this map, folks. We told you it would be coming, and it's here, and it's only going to get worse. So you can see that first band that's finally pushed through into Fort Collins earlier today. It's not a very strong one, and we did see a little break. Now the heavier snows that are just south of the Denver area are going to continue to move northward and rotate around that low, which is still, by the way, well to the south. And until it actually gets to the east of us, I would expect the snow to continue to fall. Now, we had round one fall across parts of Kansas and Nebraska today. That was just round one. They didn't even pick up half of what they're going to end up with once this upper level low moves closer to them. So take a look at where this upper level low is. It's moving through Arizona. As soon as this begins to make its turn to the northeast and begin to push through parts of the Texas Panhandle, and possibly, if it does happen to move a little further north, this upper low turns sharply as it gets to Albuquerque and sets up into southeast Colorado, then we'll be looking at a situation where we will end up with more snow than we're expecting. But we should see this track due east and then finally make its turn as it gets towards Amarillo. That's going to keep the heavier snows in Kansas and Nebraska. But until that low moves east of us, folks, we're still going to be stuck in a lot of this blue stuff. So take a look at your surface map. The surface low will continue to move eastward tonight. Heavy rain and thunderstorms ahead of the storm, the backside. You get all that moisture wrapping around, and you'll end up with the snow mixing with the cold air. But you notice by tomorrow evening, most of the snow begins to pull away. That's because we start seeing those northwesterly winds kick up. They'll tend to dry us out, and that'll set us up with some drier weather going into Friday and possibly Saturday. But if you will notice, another storm system that's going to arrive late Saturday night into Sunday, and I think we'll be looking at another round of accumulating snow, plus another system behind that for the middle to end of next week. So the weather pattern is certainly remaining active. Now you take a look at the futurecast, a lot of snow in and around northern Colorado tonight. The heaviest should stay across the eastern plains, areas like Sterling as you get out towards Akron, Burlington. I think they'll be experiencing the heaviest snow when it comes to this storm system. So take a look at your low temperature forecast. Bundle up, plenty of snow, a lot of snow out there. So if you are going to be out and about, I would take it slow if you can. Temperatures will be in the teens. And then as you get out towards Greeley, I would anticipate snow coming down a little heavier. Temperatures coming in around 16 degrees. Let's zoom and show you what's going to come in tomorrow. Snow will gradually taper off across northern Colorado, maybe some lingering flurries at least by mid-afternoon, and some spotty snow showers up in the high country. But for all practical purposes, things will begin to come to an end. High temperatures expected to be right around 30 degrees, and I might be a little optimistic here, folks. If the snow does, say, last a little longer, let's say 5 o'clock, then there's a good chance that we might actually get a little warmer than this. Greeley could probably be hung up in some of that heavier snow, and that could carry over through a little longer into the day tomorrow, so only a high of 29 degrees. Now take a look at the snowfall forecast. Again, we're looking at a broad difference here in and around northern Colorado. Lighter accumulations from Fort Collins up to the Wyoming border, generally 1 to 2 inches here. I think as you head southward, you'll start seeing those higher accumulations. Greeley easily coming in with about 4 inches of snow. Greeley's going to be sitting on that line where they're going to start seeing some of that heavier snow at times. So definitely the further east you go this time around, snow accumulations will be a little higher. Take a look at what's on our way. 90% chance of snow tomorrow, mainly becoming lighter throughout the day. Next chance of snow will then come in on Sunday, and they're going to be dry Monday, Tuesday, and at least most of Wednesday. But we're watching another storm system that could affect us Wednesday night, Thursday, and possibly again on Friday. The weather pattern is remaining active. There's your forecast. Now over to the desk.
Your basketball season is winding down.
Yeah, Fossil, it was senior night, and they hosted a very dangerous Fort Collins team. I'll have the full highlight.
American Small Business Club members on Northern Colorado 5. Northern Colorado 5 Sports.
Well, it was senior night for Fossil Ridge boys basketball when they hosted Fort Collins. Tight game here. The SaberCats opened the game to build up a 12-5 lead, but the Lambkins closed out the quarter on a 7-0 run to tie it, capped off with this three-pointer by Henry Dieter. But the second quarter belonged to the home team as Fossil outscored the visitors 24-5, starting off with back-to-back threes by Brandon Bodnar. Both teams would play hard the rest of the way, but Fort Collins could never get this one back within reach. Fossil takes this one 60-59. to 40. The Mountain West Track and Field Championship gets underway tomorrow as the Rams look to build off the early season success they have already seen. Lots of great competition this year, and head coach Brian Bedard knows that every point his team can earn is going to make a huge difference when it comes to where they finish.
Well, you can see if a team's going to be a runaway favorite, like on the women's side. Looks like San Diego State has a really good team on the women's side. On the men's side, New Mexico, with all their foreign talent, is going to be extremely difficult to beat. But after that, both meets are pretty wide open, and second through fifth on the men's side could be separated by as little as 5 points, and on the women's side, second through seventh is in the same situation. 5 to 10 points is going to decide most of those places. So.
Big weekend for CSU softball as well as they travel to Southern California for a tournament at Palm Springs. Huge tournament as far as RPI is concerned, as the Rams will square off with some of the nation's premier programs such as Oregon State and Syracuse. Big test for CSU, but head coach Jen Fisher feels that this is just what her team needs to prepare themselves for a strong season.
When you get to match up against top 25 teams and you get your squad out there, they always have huge crowds. We've got a ton of family going out to watch us and support us, and so it's really exciting. It's a well-run tournament. We've got our work cut out for us, but historically this tournament has been a tournament where we've played well against some really good teams, so it can be a real confidence booster to say, hey, we're right there. Last year we beat Long Beach there. They were conference champions the previous year. So we've done some good things out there, and we hope to continue.
Huge game in Las Vegas for the CSU men's basketball team as they traveled to UNLV. For a complete game breakdown and analysis, go to our website at NOCO5.com. That does it for sports. We'll be right back.
The report on the health of Colorado's forests was released today, citing concerns that go beyond pine beetle infestation. According to the report, for the first time in recent decades, the acreage impacted by spruce beetles surpassed that of the mountain pine beetle, with a total of 311,000 acres of active infestation mapped in 2012. According to the report, in order to slow the infestation of bark beetles, sound forest management must be put in place to meet the needs of future generations. Small businesses in Loveland can now apply for a new program called the Business Efficiency Grant. The cash grant is designed to reduce the amount that a small business pays for an energy-efficient project, including lighting retrofits, building tune-ups, and more. Now, the grant will provide up to $5,000 for projects that qualify and will be available until December 1st. To apply, contact Loveland Water and Power. Who will get the rights to sell Martha Stewart merchandise, and what will it take to get the stock markets from falling? Alexis Christoforous has these stories in tonight's CBS Money Watch.
Talk of more corporate deal-making sent stocks higher. The stock market is now on track for its 7th straight weekly gain. The Dow climbed nearly 54 points. The Nasdaq added 21. Shares of Office Depot and Office Max rallied on news the two office supply chains are in talks to merge. It would be the latest in a recent string of buyouts on Wall Street. Google made history when its stock topped $800 for the first time. The milestone came more than 5 years after Google's shares initially crossed $700. Analysts say the stock rise is a show of confidence in the company's leadership. Google's stock is up 35% since co-founder Larry Page replaced Eric Schmidt as CEO nearly 2 years ago. And a new survey finds confidence among U.S. home builders slipped this month from the 6.5-year high it reached in January. Many builders are reporting less traffic by prospective customers before the critical spring home buying season. And Microsoft is upping the ante in the email wars. The company has launched a $30 million advertising campaign for its email service, Outlook.com. Starting today, all of Microsoft's email services like Hotmail and MSN will be automatically converted to Outlook.com, along with users' old emails and contacts. But you will still be able to use your old email address. That's your Money Watch. For more, go to CBSMoneyWatch.com. In New York, I'm Alexis Christoforous.
A day after Apple said a group of its employees had their computers hacked, we're learning more about who may be responsible. An Eastern European gang. Unnamed sources tell Bloomberg the hackers were trying to steal company secrets from Apple, Facebook, and Twitter. Apple says the computers had been compromised after they visited a hacked website for iPhone developers, which exploited a vulnerability in the Java browser plugin. Both Facebook and Apple said no user data were accessed in the attacks. The recent hacks appear to have used what cybersecurity experts call a water hole attack. That's when they load viruses onto sites they think their targets will visit, then wait. Airport security wait times may soon be getting a little bit longer. Staffing cuts could be one consequence of forced spending cuts due to take effect on March 1st. Airports across the country will be impacted if the $85 billion in federal budget cuts go through as scheduled. Many federal agencies, including those that handle airport security, customs, and air traffic control, will be forced to furlough employees. Gamers are gearing up for a huge announcement from Sony. The entertainment and consumer electronics company is expected to announce the high-anticipated successor to the PlayStation 3 video game console. Maggie Lake explains why Sony has so much at stake in the next-generation device.
Sony needs to get out in front early if it has any hope of regaining its lead in the gaming industry. This week, the consumer electronic giant is expected to unveil the 4th generation of its PlayStation gaming console.
And this is a crucial play on the way.
There's a lot of pressure on Sony right now. They have to justify that it's time to move from the PlayStation 3 era to the PlayStation 4 era. They need to justify that PlayStation still matters, because we hear about Nintendo all the time and we hear about Xbox and Kinect, but PlayStation has kind of faded a bit, so they need to reassert their relevance.
There hasn't been a new console from Sony in 7 years. During that time, Microsoft's Xbox has taken the lead in the U.S. market, with Nintendo's Wii a competitive third. Globally, Sony is still the #1 console maker, but that may also be shifting. Consumers are increasingly downloading games on their smartphones and tablets instead of buying consoles. For new consumers, apps are often cheaper and easier.
So who's kicking? Are you kicking?
No, I'm receiving. You're kicking. Oh no, it looks like I'm kicking. No, wait, no, I'm receiving. It's a competitive playing field, but don't count Sony out yet.
Sony's advantage that they have over Microsoft, if they have any advantage, is that they have amassed a bunch of exclusive game development teams all around the world. When we see what Sony unveils with their hardware, we should also be looking to see what games they show, because just that one perfect game, like we saw Wii Sports define the Wii, could change everything for Sony.
Maggie Lake, CNN, New York.
On the way to becoming law in Colorado, crimes against pregnant women would be severely punished. The proposal would create new felony charges for those who cause a pregnant woman to lose her baby. The current law states that sentences can become more severe when the loss of a baby is involved, but the new law would make it a separate charge completely. The proposal has sparked a personhood debate in whether or not a fetus does or does not have rights. Don't go away. We'll have one more look at your northern Colorado forecast when we come back.
The information you want, when you want it. NOCO5.com. Committed to Northern Colorado. Like us on Facebook for news and weather updates.
All right, folks, snow will continue to fall in and around northern Colorado tonight with temperatures in the teens. Looking for that northeasterly wind somewhere between 5 and 20 miles per hour. For tomorrow, not a very warm day. Highs, if we're lucky, will be near 30 degrees. Snow will continue. Snowfall accumulations higher near Greeley and then down towards the Denver.
All right, thanks for joining us. Stay safe if you're heading out tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow night.